You don't wake up one day with your life fully lived. But you do wake up one day realizing you haven't really lived at all. That's the moment it begins. You look in the mirror, and it's not wrinkles or age that startle you. It's the quiet grief of recognizing a face that's been performing for too long. The dreams you once carried now feel like strangers. The ambitions that once burned bright have been buried under routines, responsibilities, and the weight of everyone else's expectations. There's no explosion, no dramatic collapse, just a whisper that says, "This isn't the life I was meant to live." And at first, you ignore it, because it's easier to keep moving, scrolling, working, nodding, pretending, laughing at jokes you don't find funny, saying you're fine when your soul is screaming. You become so good at surviving, you forget that you were meant to live. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Your second life begins the moment you realize you have only one." And that quote? It's not poetic fluff. It's a punch to the gut because deep down, you already know it's true. You've lived like you had infinite tomorrows, like your real life was just waiting around the next corner. But days turned into years, and now here you are, wondering how you got so far from yourself. No one teaches you how to live. They teach you how to follow, obey, produce, smile, sit still, say thank you, be polite. They hand you a script written by generations long dead and tell you, this is how it's done. And so you trade passion for predictability, risk for security, curiosity for obedience. You weren't taught to dream, you were taught to function. But then something shatters the illusion. Maybe it's a breakup, a betrayal, a death, or maybe it's just waking up one day and not recognizing the person staring back at you. Whatever it is, it rips through your life like lightning, and for a brief, painful second, you see the truth. You don't have forever. You have now. You have this breath, this heartbeat, this day, and suddenly, survival isn't enough anymore. You want more than a paycheck and a polite smile. You want your soul back. And in that moment, everything changes. You're no longer afraid of failing. You're afraid of wasting what's left. You stop asking for permission to be yourself. You stop explaining why you want more. You stop performing for a world that applauds your obedience but punishes your authenticity. Because you finally get it. This is it. This is the show. This is the one and only shot. And no one else is coming to save you. No perfect moment is arriving. No cosmic signal. No applause. Just this quiet, terrifying truth. Your life is happening, with or without your participation. Nietzsche believed that life should be lived as if you would relive this exact same life, again and again, for all eternity. Every choice, every regret, every moment of silence when you should have spoken, every compromise that made you smaller. If you had to live today over and over, would you be grateful? Or would you scream? The truth is, most people live like they're immortal. They decorate their graves while forgetting to build their lives. They wait, delay, postpone. I'll live after this job ends. I'll start after the kids grow up. I'll try once I feel ready. But the tragedy is, you'll never feel ready. Because readiness is a myth. Only regret is real. And it shows up quietly, when the world gets quiet, and you're finally alone with yourself. And by then, the life you could have lived has already become a ghost. So you have a choice. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now you can shrink. Stay safe. Go back to pretending. Or you can wake up. You can look regret in the eye and say, not today. You can pick up the pieces of the life you abandoned and build something real. Not perfect. Not glamorous. But honest. Because the first life was for them. The second life is for you. Most people don't fail. They conform. They obey so well, they forget they ever had a choice. You weren't born to chase numbers. You weren't born to accumulate titles. You weren't born to survive between paychecks and pretend that's freedom. But that's what you were taught. Study. Obey. Fit in. Get a job. Get married. Get a house. Produce. Consume. And somewhere between the bullet points, you're supposed to find your joy. But what if you didn't? What if the reason you're exhausted, lost, uninspired, isn't because you're broken, but because the life you're living was never designed for someone like you? Nietzsche saw this clearly. He didn't romanticize suffering. He exposed how society uses comfort as a leash. He warned us about the herd, those who follow the safest path, not the truest one. And the herd will always welcome you, as long as you don't disturb them with your authenticity. If you dream big, they'll say, be realistic. If you walk away from a job that kills your soul, they'll say, be grateful. If you dare to create your own path, they'll call you reckless, selfish, even crazy. But here's what Nietzsche understood. You don't owe your life to the script. You don't owe your joy to anyone else's approval. You don't need to be understood by people who've never even tried to be themselves. The real tragedy isn't that people die. It's that they never truly live. You can feel it in the way people speak, in the forced smiles, the restless eyes, the fake laughter. You can see it in the way they celebrate promotions that drain them, in the way they beg the weekend to save them, in the way they plan their vacations like prison breaks. They're not living, they're performing, for a world that hands out applause for compliance and silence for rebellion. And yet they wonder why their soul feels numb, why they cry in the dark and smile in the light, why their lives feel so hollow, because you cannot be fully alive in a life that isn't yours. Nietzsche called it the herd instinct, the survival strategy of following instead of thinking. And while it may keep you safe, it comes at the cost of your soul. You decorate your cage, you paint it gold, you post filtered smiles and curated happiness. But deep down, you know, a cage is still a cage, and the key was always in your hands. But here's the terrifying truth. Freedom isn't comfortable. It doesn't feel safe. It demands you become fully responsible for your choices, for your time, for your truth. And that responsibility is what most people are running from. They say, now isn't the right time. Maybe next year. Once I've saved enough. Once the kids are older. Once I feel ready. But time doesn't care about your excuses. It's not waiting for you to feel ready. It's not interested in your plans. It's only interested in one thing. Are you living or just surviving? Because every day you delay is a day you donate to regret. And regret is slow. It doesn't stab, it seeps. It starts with small betrayals, saying yes when you wanted to say no, staying quiet when your heart screamed to speak, postponing your passion. Just one more year. You don't lose your life all at once. You lose it in pieces. And one day, you wake up and realize you've become a stranger to your own soul. Nietzsche warned that if you don't confront death consciously, it will confront you through regret. And that kind of regret is not just sadness, it's decay, a soul-level corrosion of everything you could have been. So let me ask you something. If today was the only day you were guaranteed, would you still live it pretending? Would you still spend it proving yourself to people who don't even know themselves? Would you still apologize for being too much? Would you still shrink to fit inside their comfort zone? Or would you finally let the old script burn? Would you finally admit you're not tired, you're uninspired, that you're not lost, you're hiding, that you're not unworthy, you're just playing small to be accepted? You're not failing, you're just following, and following someone else's dream will never lead you to your truth. The world doesn't need more obedient souls. It needs people brave enough to live without apology, to love without permission, to walk alone if necessary. Nietzsche believed that to live a full life, you must be willing to walk through fire without a guarantee. Because real life, the second life, isn't found in comfort. It's found in the fire you thought would destroy you, but ended up setting you free. You don't wake up drowning in regret. It doesn't hit you like lightning. It creeps in like a slow, cold fog. One missed opportunity. One, maybe later. One unspoken truth. One dream shelved for now. And at first, life still looks fine. The bills are paid, the birthdays are posted, the vacations are planned, but something inside you begins to rot. You start smiling less, even when you're supposed to be happy. You feel emptier, even in a room full of people. You wake up heavier, not from fatigue, but from a sadness you can't name. This isn't depression. It's not just sadness. It's the slow death of a life unlived. Regret doesn't scream, it whispers. It whispers late at night. You could have been more. And we try to silence it with noise. We scroll, we shop, we drink, we work ourselves numb. But no matter how loud the distraction, the whisper always grows louder. Because regret isn't about what you did. It's about what you were too afraid to do. Nietzsche believed regret is a form of self-betrayal. It is the slow, aching realization that you've wasted the only miracle you were ever given: existence. You won't regret failing. You'll regret not trying. You'll regret the silence, the cowardice, the years spent doubting instead of daring. You'll regret the love you didn't fight for, the words you never said, the dreams you abandoned to make others more comfortable. Look around you. How many people are already dead, even though their hearts are still beating? They live in routines they hate. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They celebrate milestones they don't care about. They walk around like breathing ghosts. Biologically alive, spiritually gone. You feel it when you're near them. The heavy emptiness, the invisible sadness, the desperate attempts to distract themselves from the quiet horror of their own unlived lives. And this is the fate Nietzsche warned us about. Not physical death, not pain, but a life so disconnected from its truth. It no longer feels alive. Every day you delay becoming who you were meant to be. You feed that death a little more. And the worst part? Most people will never even realize what they've lost until it's too late. Because society taught you to measure your worth in numbers, salary, followers, assets, likes. But none of those things will hold your hand when regret is devouring you at 3 a.m. None of them will comfort you when your soul asks, "Did I really live?" You are not afraid of dying. You're afraid of dying without having lived. And that fear, if you're brave enough to truly feel it, can become your salvation. Because fear has two faces: the fear that paralyzes you, and the fear that awakens you. Most people are shackled by the first. They let it shrink them, contain them, keep them safe, but you can choose the second. Let fear ignite you. Let it terrify you into action. Let it burn the excuses from your lungs, because you are running out of time. And Nietzsche knew, life is for the courageous, not for the comfortable. not for the certain, for the ones brave enough to confront their own mortality and live anyway. You are standing at a crossroads. You can go back to sleep, pretend, perform, repeat, or you can choose the terror of waking up, not to be crushed by it, but to be forged by it. You don't need more time, you need more courage. You don't need more motivation, you need more brutal honesty. You don't need more years, you need to stop wasting the ones you already have. Because here's the thing, the death of your first life doesn't come with a funeral. There are no tears, no eulogies, no warning. It dies quietly. It dies the moment you realize that everything you were chasing was never yours to begin with. It dies when you stop trying to impress people who don't even know who they are. It dies when you stop apologizing for being real, raw, imperfect, and alive. And in that silence, you are reborn. Not into perfection, not into certainty, but into freedom. Your second life isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's not about being faster, louder, richer. It's about being truer, and yes, you will be misunderstood. You will lose people. You will be rejected. You will walk alone. But in losing everything that kept you small, you'll find yourself. And that is a trade worth making 1,000 times over. The world won't applaud you for choosing yourself. It will resent you. Because every step you take into authenticity reminds them of the steps they were too afraid to take. But let them be uncomfortable. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be free. Nietzsche said, the greatest sin is not suffering. It's mediocrity. A life half-lived, dreams half-dreamed, a soul half-awake. Your second life doesn't ask for your perfection. It demands your presence, your fire, your truth, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. Because the things that scare you the most are often the things your soul was born to do. If you knew you only had 1 year left, really knew it, you wouldn't waste another second playing small. You'd stop explaining your worth. You'd stop shrinking yourself to be digestible. You'd stop asking permission to live fully. You'd live with urgency, with gratitude, with savage, unapologetic wonder. You'd love the people who set your soul on fire. You'd leave the places that made you forget your own name. You'd chase the dreams that terrify you, because those are the only dreams worth having. And you would not waste one more heartbeat waiting for someone else to say, now it's okay. Because the truth? No one is coming. Your second life doesn't begin when the world changes. It begins when you do. When you finally say, I am done surviving. I am done existing. I am ready to live. Even if no one claps, even if no one understands, even if everyone else stays asleep. The first life? That was for them. The second life? That's for you. And the question isn't, will you be afraid? Of course you will. Fear is part of waking up. The real question is, will you choose life anyway? Because if you don't, if you let the fear win, you will spend the rest of your existence haunted by the ghost of the life you could have lived. But if you do, if you dare to burn brightly, even for just 1 day, even if it costs you everything safe and familiar, you will die with nothing left inside you but gratitude. Gratitude that you didn't leave this world without ever showing it who you really were. Because this world doesn't need more perfection. It doesn't need more politeness. It doesn't need more polished performances. It needs you, the full version. The messy one, the brave one, the one who says no when silence would be easier. The one who stands up, even with shaking legs. The one who decides that they'd rather risk everything than die wondering what could have been. Your second life doesn't erase your first. It honors it. It looks at your pain and says, "Thank you for the lesson, but now it's time to let you go." You cannot live while dragging your coffin behind you. Let the dead things bury themselves and step forward, bruised, broken, imperfect, but finally alive. This won't be easy. Living your second life means grieving the version of you that people liked more. The one who tolerated disrespect, the one who laughed at jokes that hurt, the one who apologized for shining too brightly. You will lose things: comfort, approval, familiarity. But in that loss, you will gain everything that makes life worth it: your voice, your clarity, your fire. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you already have. You don't need more motivation. You need to admit that what you're doing now isn't working. And you don't need more years. You need to make this one count. Because pain, that's temporary. But regret is eternal. You can heal from wounds. You can't heal from never having tried. So stop rehearsing. Stop planning for a moment that will never be perfect. Stop bargaining with time you don't have. Live. Right now. Right here. Without apology. Because your second life is waiting. And it begins the moment you stop pretending you have time.